You, you know, today it's time for us to really go down the rabbit hole. And this is going to be a little bit of history, okay? And it's, I got my little Alice cup, so we going to go down this rabbit hole, okay? Now, everybody talking about Trump and everything. And I want to make a comment that Elon Musk made back here during the campaign. And then I'm going to bring it all together, okay? But you gotta listen. We finna have a little history. You know, Elon Musk told the people, the Republicans, the MAGAs, which was predominant white, he said it's going to hurt, but you're going to love it. Fast forward to now. You know, Stephen Smith, you have to look at his background, one of the key players. Stephen Smith's family was part of the Holocaust, and a lot of people don't know what the Holocaust is. The Holocaust is when Hitler, I'm going to say, murdered or oofed. I hope I'm not banned. 6 million Jews. Now, it wasn't just Jews now, because see, people think that all these gay rights and all this stuff that happened now in America, we liberated. No, we were the last to do that. We were the very last. In fact, a lot of black entertainers went and lived in Germany and France and other countries because they could not, because the Jim Crow law was so bad here, they moved to they performed abroad. And just like Paris, before there were gay rights and stuff here, it was Paris back in the day, it was all of that. It was that was the end thing in Europe. So, a lot of Jewish people came here, just like other war people. They came here and they set up life here. And so anyway, back in the day, Hitler had this theory that, Aryan blood was the purest blood, and that if they had an Aryan utopia, not a white, an Aryan utopia, that things would be all right. See, that's just like some of you black folks who think that if black folks were all to get together, that we'll have a black utopia. Well, back then, people had morals and they had, dignity, and they was hardworking and stuff. We on the other hand, we not like that, okay? We not like that. We not even near like it was back then, So anyway, that's how that came to be, which is now. And what Trump is trying to do, what they're trying to do is they know they can't get black folks out. They know they can't just get black folks out. They had how they did it with doc immigrants. They had to take away this program, that program to protect them, and then they started sending them off. They started with the undocumented. Then they got rid of those who had papers and stuff, and then they slowly working on those who became citizens, and so on and so forth. You kind of get the idea. Well, Stephen said that if he had it his way, everybody would look like him. Well, I don't know if they talking about the Mr. Burns nose or whatever, or he's talking about white utopia. Now, what do black folks, where do you say, Samantha, why is this all important? Because you know what? In every race, you have somebody that thinks that, if they help them out, that they would be considered along the way. The Native Americans did it when they was capturing Geronimo and all the other famous Native Americans who was fighting to protect their land, and how they had scouts to go and talk to them and communicate with them. And, this is the plan, divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. You divide, because I'm going to tell you something, there's more brown folks in this country than it is European white folks. And that's not to mention that some of the white people have started dating with the black folks and the brown folks, and this is how we came about, So Do you see how important that vote was? Do you see how important vote is? Everybody keeps saying, well, why are you drilling at home? Because, we had so many black folks like Tommy Sotomayor, Candace Owens, and that was sitting here that Candace Owens wasn't talking about not voting. She was telling you to vote for Trump. Because, see, she thought that, Trump would spare her, not you, her. You got, what I can understand is you have poor black, I was told that there was a woman that needs surgery on a certain part of her body and she, can't work and everything, and she said she was a conservative. Baby, you got to have money to be conservative. I'm going to be honest. Like I said, look around you. Look around your surroundings. And if you getting more than 2 federal assistance, baby, you're not a conservative. You need to be very liberal. Now, a lot of people say, well, being liberal means that you're into abortions, you're into all these gay rights. No, not necessarily. I'm into the rights. See, because everybody think that what's going on now is the new thing, and that it ain't never been tried before, and the outcome. Think about it. If Hitler had his way, half of us would be dead or shipped somewhere else. Everybody want to believe that America is strong like it was back in the 40s and 50s, and that's not true. America stopped doing major made in America stuff since the 70s. In the 80s, it was completely gone. How you know? Because my uncle used to work at Levi Strauss jean company, and they went out of business. It was in Memphis, and they went out of business, and they moved to Mexico. Mexico has what they call reasonable labor. Mexico don't have unions. So they don't have that kind of stuff. They don't have to deal with that. Volkswagen here didn't have to deal with a union, but people wanted a union. They wanted a union. Volkswagen paid them even when COVID came while they was off. Made sure that they was paid. Made sure that they had they was getting a check. Made sure that they didn't lose their health insurance. Made sure they wasn't fired. They did everything that they could to reconstruct Volkswagen. And what did they turn around to do? They said, no, we want a union. Now, a lot of things are taken away. I'm not saying that unions are bad or anything, and Stephen Smith knew that the unions, when they not like they were when I was in the union, and my daddy used to talk about how the union was, and my granddaddy. The union is not the way it was. They not the way they are. They lobbyists. They are lobbyists. Somebody come and give them some money and promise them some lies. Them union workers and them steel union workers knew how bad terrorists was. They knew it. They knew it. But see, you know what? Somebody got promised up under the table, and that's why they endorsed Donald Trump. Do I need to repeat that? I don't. You get it the first time. See, unions have always been about money, power, whatever. Just like politics, money and power. You find few that's about the people. You find few that are far-fetched. But corruption in government has been going on since the beginning of time. But see, we think we can control it now. And we're not even educated like that. We are not in some parts, in places, we are not educated enough to go to another country to do anything. Look at what you do. Look at what you do. I'm going to tell you something. It's some church folks in China that sleep at the job. They crawl up under their desk and go to sleep and then come on back out and do that. The American folks can't compete with that. The only thing now we have is that, like I said, is that when we come here, we took care of other countries. Yeah, we did. But other countries, because we took care of other countries, that made us more strong. The American dollar now is going to collapse. It ain't going to mean nothing. That means your 401k going to leave. Your retirement going to leave. We ain't going through no recession. We finna go through a depression. Because a lot of folks still believe that America can hold its own by itself, and that's not true anymore. Corporations have done it. They left. And because corporations left, government had to still find a way, the United States still had to find a way to be able to control not just what comes in, but what goes out. Think about it. Our food is more tainted. You got folks there. I went to this place and I was just sitting there watching. And I saw how many obese people coming to here. Of all colors, obese. We don't even have health insurance like Canada, where they take care of everybody. We don't have health insurance like that. Or better yet, Alaska, where they give them money for being up there. See, that's because it's not a lot of people in Canada. It's not a lot of people in Alaska. Certain states, it's not a lot of people, so they can take care of their own. That's why that congressman or that senator was trying to work out a deal. But you can't work out a deal with the devil. And the devil is not Trump, just Trump. It's Stephen Smith. See, that's why, everybody's finding out not just how important voting is, but it's also important about who you vote for. Who you vote for. And when somebody promise you utopia, when they promise you the utopia, you just can't say he making America great again. What part of America he was making great? You Cubans, you Latinos, what part of that? What part of that? Y'all being racially profiled. Welcome to the new black America. Blacks who voted for him. When did America become great for you? Oh, when they start letting you live next to somebody, that's when it was great. But you fail to look at that they still doing underhand discrimination, because if you try to sell your house and you black, then you're not going to get the same amount. They can deny you housing. They can still do all of this stuff. Well, like I said, Stephen Smith is the backbone of Trump. And you can tell, because anytime you ask him a question and he don't know, and he refer you like a manager, he's not a president. He's referring you to other Pam Bondi or Tulsi Gabbard or somebody else. And if you notice now, have you noticed that Cash Patel ain't, he's heard but not seen? Cash Patel is just a figure. He just in there. Cash Patel ain't nowhere. You know what? The Department of Justice is overstepping its bounds, and have you noticed? That's to lure you brown folks in to think that, he has a diverse. He's got to get the black votes. That's why he got that sex offender, LT, Lawrence Taylor. Come on. Even the birds, they understand it. Yeah. He's getting black folks now, because you know why? Because y'all still like this. Y'all still believing in him. You still believing that this man is not racist. You still want to believe that Trump is that. You loyal to a man, not the party. Republican Party, the true Republican Party, would have been together with the Democrats and got rid of that. But see, we still believe that, you know what, that Trump is not gonna go after our citizenship. That's what you believe. That's what you continue to believe. That Trump is not gonna go after our citizenship. And you know what? Then you got some of these wannabe black folks that sit here and say, well, you know, if he come to my house, if he come to your house, you ain't gonna do a damn thing but cry, call the police, and go out there and clown. Talk all this stuff while you in the car being probably sent to Alligator Island too. So this is a time where we need to sit and talk to our sons, our daughters, talk to ourselves. Not just how we got this, because it's beyond that now. It's about how we get out of it. How important voting is. Because they got it down. You women that's on Section 8, they gave you a deadline 2 years. Some of y'all credit ain't even strong enough to live if he gave you 5, because you never worked on it. You never worked on it. And if you still believe that it doesn't matter who is in office, I want you to think of Stephen Smith, the young man whose family descended from Jews persecuted from being a Jewish man to now he's persecuting Hispanics. See, it's all a part about that rabbit hole. You looking at the surface. Go deep in within. And don't think for 1 minute that blacks of America are spared. Because you know what? The worst thing I saw was a group of young folks with MAGA hats on at the Oval Office talking about our dad is home. I ain't never called a president daddy. I have a daddy. Regardless of how I feel about him, I have a daddy. But for people to sit here and call this man daddy, call him God. See, this is why America is not, we showing our slip. We not strong anymore. We gullible. We fools. Yeah, they looking at us like that. Even though many of us are not. They can't understand other countries. Why is that the minorities are praising this man that he's hurting so bad? They don't get it. And many of us don't get it either. But this is what we have to go through. Maybe what Elon Musk said is true. Maybe because we're going through all of this, it's got to hurt. Maybe to bring us together. The ones that want to be together. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Maybe it is that America not only address the issues that we have, but now it's time for us to show what America really about. Are we still about American and unity? Do we still help those and when we in need? Or are we like 9/11 when it happened? Or have we become that so numb to compassion, to empathy, to helping one another that we are a lost cause? I hope that we're not a lost cause. But it's no longer funny when I hear somebody say, go back to Mexico. Because I remember when they told me to go back to Africa. Or putting children in concentration camps. Or people. No, we got to show that America is so bigger than that. That we are Americans. We are Americans. And before I end, I want to give my shout out to the Texas Democrats who are fighting. Greg Abbott, you're a man with no balls. Because when he went to Brian Kemp with that, Brian Kemp said, no, we ain't having it. And they was Republicans. When he went to the election, the commission said, find me 11,000 votes. No, the election commission said, no, you ain't putting me in there. I give Georgia props. See, Georgia had balls. No, they didn't let Trump take their manhood. But Greg Abbott, man, and you Republicans down there, man, y'all, he took your manhood from you. You letting a stinky, smelly man. He can only have power if you give it to him. Y'all remember that. Somebody can only have power for you if you give it to him. And when you show them that you want that job bad enough, that you are willing to do something, they lose respect for him. Baby, I have walked off a job that I knew I need to feed my kids. Now, you ain't finna talk to me this kind of way. You ain't finna sit here and treat me this kind of way. Or I look for me another job and then I go ahead and move on. But see, some of these folks these Republicans want power so bad that they willing to let, like Ted Cruz. You notice every time something happen, he go. But you know what? They want power so bad that they let them talk about their wife. I'm gonna tell you something. If somebody is willing to bow down on their knees, baby, don't be surprised they bending over too. Don't you be surprised. Don't be shocked now. Because I'm going to tell you something. I bet you if Trump said, come on, Mr. President, I'm going to take one for the team. No, sometimes you got to let the team go on with their life. Some of y'all are taking the wrong situation for the team. And those people that are ICE that got signed up for that $50,000 bonus, and you helping deport your own, and blacks, you helping deport Hispanics. I'm going to say this, baby. I always say this. Everything that look good, sound good, ain't good. Because at the end, when this administration is over, you got to go home and explain it to yourself. And I'm going to tell you something, $50,000 ain't no money. That check can go away. And you're going to have to live with yourself and in the community that you call yourself running away. You know what? Desperate times bring out the worst of people and sometimes the best of people. Yeah. Sometimes you see people at their worst when they feel like it's desperate times. And then you see people at their best. My question is, I'd rather be broken at my best than have a little money in my pocket from things I've done and then be looked at the scum. Because this is the mark. All these folks that's in this administration, would they ever get a job after this? Probably not. Because this is the stain. This is going to be the stain of America. Which shit stain are you going to be part of?